Did you know House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 1 has Aemond kissing his mum, and this is 100% not in the books. So once again, George R.R. Martin is not involved in the show anymore, which explains Season 2's drop in quality. And in the books, Aemond has a relationship with Alice Rivers, who is 40 years old in the book, but looks unusually young for her age. She gets pregnant with Aemond's child while he holds Harrenhal after Daemon leaves. Also, it wasn't Daemon that she was giving visions to like we saw in Season 2, but Aemond in the books. She was also a wet nurse for Lionel Strong's sons, Harwin and Larys, in the books. This is what really happened at the start of the Battle of the Gullet. Gyldayn writes, "Thus did Prince Jacaerys achieve his goal, for all death and pain it caused, the widows left behind, the burned men who would carry their scars until the day they died. 4 new dragon riders had been found." As 129 AC drew to a close, the prince prepared to fly against King's Landing. The date he chose for the attack was the first full moon of the new year. Yet the plans of men are but playthings to the gods. For even as Jace laid his plans, a new threat was closing from the east. The schemes of Otto Hightower had borne fruit. Meeting in Tyrosh, the High Council of the Triarchy had accepted his offer of alliance. 90 warships swept from the Stepstones under the banners of the Three Daughters, bending their oars for the Gullet. And as chance and the gods would have it, the Pentoshi cog Gay Abandon, carrying 2 Targaryen princes, sailed straight into their teeth. The escorts sent to protect the cog were sunk or taken. The Gay Abandon captured. The tale reached Dragonstone only when Prince Aegon arrived, desperately clinging to the neck of his dragon, Stormcloud. The boy was white with terror, Mushroom tells us, shaking like a leaf and stinking of piss. Only 9 he had never flown before and would never fly again, for Stormcloud had been terribly wounded as he fled the Gay Abandon, arriving with the stubs of countless arrows embedded in his belly and a scorpion bolt through his neck. He died within the hour, hissing as the hot blood gushed black and smoking from his wounds. Aegon's younger brother, Prince Viserys, had no way of escaping from the cog. A clever boy, he hid his dragon's egg and changed into ragged, salt-stained clothing, pretending to be no more than a common ship's boy. But one of the real ship's boys betrayed him, and he was made a captive of Shakaro Lahar of Lys. In the books, what really happened in the Battle of the Gullet. Gyldayn writes, "The Lysen admiral divided his fleet for the attack. One pincer was to enter the Gullet south of Dragonstone, the other to the north. In the early morning hours of the 5th day of the 130th year since Aegon's conquest, battle was joined. Shakaro's warships swept in with the rising sun behind them. Hidden by the glare, they took many of Lord Valyrion's galleys unawares, ramming some and swarming aboard others with ropes and grapnels. Leaving Dragonstone unmolested, the southern squadron fell upon the shores of Driftmark, landing men at Spicetown and sending fireships into the harbour to set ablaze the ships coming out to meet them. By mid-morning, Spicetown was burning, whilst Myrish and Tyroshi troops battered at the very doors of high tide. When Prince Jacaerys swept down upon a line of Lysen galleys on Vermax, a rain of spears and arrows rose up to meet him. The sailors of the Triarchy had faced dragons before, whilst warring against Prince Daemon in the Stepstones. No man could fault their courage. They were prepared to meet Dragon Flame with such weapons as they had. "Kill the rider, and the dragon will depart," their captains and commanders had told them. One ship took fire, and then another. Still, the men of the free cities fought on until a shout rang out, and they looked up to see more winged shapes coming around the Dragonmont and turning towards them. It is one thing to face a dragon, another to face 5. As Silverwing, Sheepstealer, Seasmoke, and Vermithor descended upon them, the men of the Triarchy felt their courage desert them. The line of warships shattered as one galley after another turned away. The dragons fell like thunderbolts, spitting balls of fire, blue and orange, red and gold, each brighter than the next. In the books, this is how Jace Valerian died. Gildane writes, "Ship after ship burst asunder or was consumed by flames. Screaming men leapt into the sea, shrouded in fire. Tall columns of black smoke rose up from the water. All seemed lost. All was lost." Several differing tales were told afterward of how and why the dragon fell. Some claimed a crossbowman put an iron bolt through his eyes, but this version seems suspiciously similar to the way Meraxus met her end long ago in Dawn. Another account tells us that a sailor in the crow's nest of a Myrish galley cast a grapnel as Vermax was swooping through the fleet. One of its prongs found purchase between 2 scales and was driven deep by the dragon's own considerable speed. The sailor had coiled his end of the chain about the mast, and the weight of the ship and the power of Vermac's wings tore a long jagged gash in the dragon's belly. The dragon's shriek of rage was heard as far off as Spicetown, even through the clangor of battle. His flight jerked to a violent end. Vermax went down smoking and screaming, clawing at the water. Survivors said he struggled to rise, only to crash headlong into a burning galley. Wood splintered, the mast came tumbling down, and the dragon, thrashing, became entangled in the rigging. When the ship heeled over and sank, Vermax sank with her. It is said that Jacaris Balerion leapt free and clung to a piece of smoking wreckage for a few heartbeats, until some crossbowmen on the nearest Myrish ship began loosing quarrels at him. The prince was struck once, and then again. More and more Maiamin brought crossbowmen to bear. Finally, one quarrel took him through the neck, and Jace was swallowed by the sea. In the books, this is what happened in the aftermath of Jace Valerion's death. Gildane writes, "The battle in the gullet raged into the night north and south of Dragonstone, and remains amongst the bloodiest sea battles in all of history. Shikaro Lahar had taken a combined fleet of 90 Myrish, Lyseni, and Tyroshi warships from the Stepstones. 28 survived to Limp Hone, all but 3 chewed by Lyseni. In the aftermath, the widows of Mira and Tyrosh accused the admiral of sending their fleets to destruction whilst holding back his own, beginning the quarrel that would spell the end of the Triarchy 2 years later, when the 3 cities turned against each other in the Daughters' War. But that is outside the scope of this tale. Though the attackers bypassed Dragonstone, no doubt believing that the ancient Targaryen stronghold was too strong to assault, they exacted a grievous toll on Driftmark. Spicetown was brutally sacked, the bodies of men, women, and children butchered in the streets and left as fodder for gulls and rats and carrion crows. Its buildings burnt. The town would never be rebuilt. High tide was put to the torch as well. All the treasures the sea snake had brought back from the east were consumed by fire. His servants cut down as they tried to flee the flames. The Valerian fleet lost almost a third of its strength. Thousands died, yet none of these losses were felt so deeply as that of Jacaris Valerion, Prince of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne. In the books, the Battle of the Gullet broke Corlys Valerion, and here's how. Gildane writes, "Rhaenyra's youngest son seemed lost as well. In the confusion of battle, none of the survivors seemed quite certain which ship Prince Viserys had been on. Men on both sides presumed him dead, drowned or burned or butchered. And though his brother, Aegon the Younger, had fled and lived, all the joy had gone out of the boy. he would never forgive himself for leaping onto Stormcloud and abandoning his little brother to the enemy. It is written that when the sea snake was congratulated on his victory, the old man said, "If this be victory, I pray I never win another." Mushroom tells us there were two men on Dragonstone that night who drunk to the slaughter in a smoky tavern beneath the castle. The dragon riders Hugh the Hammer and Ulf the White, who had flown Vermithor and Silverwing into battle and lived to boast of it. "We are knights now truly," Hard Hugh declared, and Ulf laughed and said, "Fie on that, we should be lords." The girl Nettles did not share their celebrations. She had flown with the others, fought as bravely, burnt and killed as they had, but her face was black with smoke and streaked with tears when she returned to Dragonstone. And Adam Valerion, lately Adam of Hull, sought out the sea snake after the battle. What they spoke to each other, even Mushroom does not say. Anyway, subscribe for more.